Hey everybody, I'm Steve Scott. We got Goose and Derrick here, and we're going to talk about, we're going to actually analyze Ronda Rousey's match, our 14-second win over Cat Zangano. A good fighter in her own right, but she got caught cold by I think the consummate judo athlete who's turned to MMA, and it's Ronda Rousey. So we're kind of analyze that fight a little bit, and we'll have fun, especially with that arm lock, because we love arm locks here at Welcome Mat. The first thing, you have anything to add to that before we start? Anything you want to, any observations you had that maybe we can go with here, Derrick?
Right. What I've been hearing a lot of that I think was a little bit interesting is that everybody seems to be focusing on the fact that she was circling, but if you watch it pretty closely, she sees the knee coming and she reacts to it by coming off of an angle.
She gets, that's classic in judo, what we call tai sabaki, or body management, body movement. And it was a classic example of how to do it correctly, you know. So, well, let's analyze that. And can you, Goose, can you come in like you're coming in? And here's, I'm gonna kind of replicate it. You younger guys can do it. I'm going to be coming in here at Derrick, and when she came in, she tried to hook, and Ronda got out of the way. Can you come in with a right knee, like she's coming in, and boom, got out of the way. Now, what happened before we tie up too much here? We're trying to replicate it from memory here, so bear with us. Ronda, being a lefty, tried to come over to the top to get her, she tried to get her left Hiraigoshi, sweeping hip throw, Uchimata, and her thigh in. But what happened, Cat, from that knee, had the inside hip. Why don't you guys stand up a little bit, just stand up. When she had that knee up there, as she tried that knee and Ronda moved out of the way, that put the right hip inside. So remember, you want to beat them at the hips. You want to have your hip inside your opponent's hip so you can get a throw on them. That's a cardinal rule in judo or sambo. So Ronda did not have the good position at this point. But she had this, she was going to try to do the Hiraigoshi from the left, okay? But what happened is, and give Cat a lot of credit, she tried a hip toss that she knew, and she tossed her. But what happened, Ronda, instead of being thrown, she did a cartwheel over her left side, cartwheeled over, okay? So do you think you guys can replicate that to some degree? We're trying to, we're big, thick guys, and there we go. And that's as best as we're going to get it, but you can understand what happened. Ronda, now here's a point my wife brought up, which I think is really essential here. Come on up real quick, guys, before. My wife, Becky, who is a world-class judo player and also a sambo world champion, we do lots of throws in judo and sambo, lots of them. And Ronda had the presence of mind, even in the air, even in air time, she had the presence of mind of what to do. And so that's from thousands and thousands of practices where she was doing throws and being thrown and getting and throwing people. So she had the wherewithal, what it took to do a cartwheel. Even though she knew she was in trouble, she reversed the situation by that well-done cartwheel and ended up actually reversing the situation, reversing the throw on her opponent, and ending up putting her opponent on her back. And if you look at it, if you study that, you'll see that's what happened. So as she avoided it and she saw she was in trouble, she was in the air, she did a cartwheel to really save her bacon, and she did it beautifully. And that was the start of this whole situation here. That's how Ronda ended up in the top position, literally, because she cartwheeled out and ended up with Cat on her back. So let's say we've got to that cartwheel point. Can you guys go ahead and get down where, okay, where it was? Okay, good. Now come on over here, Chris, and you can kind of key in. Now Ronda was doing a really good job, and I thought controlling here from a side position, what we call in judo munegatami, or chest hold. Okay, so you can see a good controlling position. But as I recall, Derrick, do you remember how Cat turned out, or what the series of events happened?
She basically turned away and tried to get up to her knees.
Okay, so to stop her from turning away to get over to the knee, yeah, turning over. Okay. Now, what Ronda did with her right foot is what we call an anchor. Now, Neil Adams was famous for doing this, and this is when I remember my wife and I were watching the fight, and we both said, oh, it's going to be the Adams turn, or the Adams roll. The world judo champion, Neil Adams, was famous for blocking people here. I've seen it, if you watch his judo, you see him do it many times. That stopped her from doing anything else. That was a key thing right there, okay? And again, controlling position. Ronda, some people say you have to give up position to get the submission. The total opposite is true. Ronda kept gaining more and more control of the position and ended up with a good submission. So take it from there, what you saw too.
So the arm swims through and she's trying to grab the head to get a reversal. If Ronda didn't know what she was doing and Cat came through, grabbed that head, pulled over, and then she's got a good north-south position on her. So as she's here, Cat cuts the arm through, turns over to try and come through, grab the head, and she wants to try and pull Ronda over. Boom, okay? Now for a good arm locker, turning away from them is like Christmas, okay? So she cuts through, gets that underhook, comes up, okay? Ronda immediately senses it, keeps this arm, and catches that hook in there, okay? So Cat's, by this point, on both knees. Go ahead and flip over on both knees. Okay, trying to get a good base.
A little higher if you could, Goose, because she was up a little bit
on both knees.
Yep,
there you go.
There you go.
So we're here, and she's got this hand up trying to pull through. Ronda at this point is smart. She's keeping this hand here while she's trying to get a hold, okay? So as she's got this...
She swims under. See how she swam and did the underhook there?
So we've got that, and from here, normally in the Adams roll, what we would do is we would catch through, pop, boom, okay? And since that's underhook, you just catch and sit back. What Ronda did, go ahead and pop up again, okay? So she's got there, okay, so we're here, she's up on both, she realizes what's going on here, and just pops through.
Now before she did that though, she actually grabbed with the sand, grab up your leg. That was, and that really cranked that shoulder. There was that really committed that. She had that good ride there. And as she said in the post-fight interview, she was working on that overhook situation, which is a beautiful thing in of itself. Now, what Ronda did from there, real quick, I don't want to steal your thunder here, but what she did with this left foot here, with this left knee, was she actually got on it and she sat through on it where she would be on her hip. And see, like that, there you go, it's a tap out. And classic, that's a classic example of what we call ude-gatame, arm lock, which implies a straight arm lock. It's a lot of times a shoulder lock. That wasn't a juji-gatame, or the cross-body arm lock, because juji-gatame, we use the crotch as the lever, the pubic bone is the fulcrum, I should say, and the arm is levered through it. In this case, it was classically straightening the arm. Can you replicate that again? Sure. We're just trying to analyze what happened there because it was such a brilliant move. Actually, it was excellent ground fighting.
Good. So we're here. As soon as it comes over, you catch that foot. And again, this is something that seems to be missing on a lot of people, is that they just kind of put the foot in there. If I put that foot in there, I don't really have control, and he can still pull me through. Okay? I might still switch through to something else, but if I don't have that hook, I don't have control. So as she's holding, Cat swims through, she immediately hooks through right in there.
That's what we call an anchor, because she's anchored it and she's really kept her opponent from moving anywhere. She's really stopped her. Go ahead, Derrick, I'm sorry.
Okay, and as soon as that arm comes back, it's locked in, and I really don't have to grab anything too hard. Just place the hand there, and in between that anchor foot and this, it's locked.
Now watch when he sits through. Now actually I think her hip was in front, her knee was in front of the head.
Right. So well, it started back here and then she just kind of popped through and then sat through really.
Now that sit through is a key thing here because it adds so much torque to the movement.
Right. So we're here, come around, and as soon as I see that space in between the head, sit through and then straighten out. And you'll notice that it starts with this and you just straighten out. And there you go.
And she arched beautifully. And you notice that to make it hurt more, what Ronda did and what Derrick's doing, see how straight that arm is? Look at that, and it's get a tap.
Yeah, it's super, super nasty. Even if he wants to bend that arm that way, and I'm not too tight on it, by straightening out and keeping my feet hooked in where they are right now, that gives me the extra leverage to straighten that arm out and get the tap.
You do the Adams roll from that, or Adams turn from that. Here's what could have happened if she'd have just wanted the juji-gatame. So from a juji-gatame situation, look, see how he's anchored here. Now watch, if she's going for the cross-body arm lock, she could turn that over and cut it from there. Or you could even grab it and do it the way you like to do it too. Here's another variation of it. Turn over. Now he anchors. Now watch when he, now he's going to get that arm. Okay, now when he sits back, now watch when he sits back, he can finish it and catch it there. There are a lot of variations that Ronda had there. The beauty of this move is that she was literally thinking and creating on the fly. And that's the mark of a truly gifted grappler. In this case, a judo athlete turning to MMA and Ronda Rousey. And guess what? She learned this a lot from her mother, Anne Maria DeMars. And when Anne Maria was the world judo champion in 1984. And years and years of just training, lots of throws. She saved herself by that cartwheel. Like my wife said, that was the thing that really turned the fight right there, having the wherewithal, knowing what to do in the air, and really taking back the situation, and really controlling the situation, you know, once she countered her and put her on her back. So that was really what started the whole thing, and then taking it from there and just knowing what to do. It's a matter of controlling the position entirely. We have a saying here, control the position and get the submission. And that's exactly what Ronda did, wouldn't you say? Because she controlled every part of that positioning there. Yeah. And in being creative on the way, she didn't just have one thing in mind, I got to just do this. She saw a lot of options, and she took them when she needed them. And that's a person who really knows her ground fighting. Yeah. And she did. So you going to say something?
You know, you bring up the position, and there's an important part there with the cartwheel, in that when Cat did go for the throw, she basically went straight on for the throw. So an important part of finishing a throw is getting that turn through so that the opponent comes over and under you.
Onto the back. Yeah.
Right. And one of the things that helped Ronda be able to get that cartwheel is the Cat went pretty much flat down, thinking she was going to just tackle her and get kind of a hip toss tackle going. So Ronda, you can see her hopping out on that one foot, and as they come straight down, that gives her the angle to be able
to do a really good cartwheel out.
The real cartwheel.
Yeah. So in a judo sense, what Ronda, as a judo throw, you turn and you roll turning into it. What Cat made the mistake of doing was grabbing and just trying to toss and throw straight in a linear way, rather than staying round, as we say often in judo and sambo, stay round. And that's what Cat failed to do. That's why she missed the throw and allowed Ronda the space to cartwheel out, literally reverse the situation and take control and get the submission.
Right.
So it was a brilliant arm lock, and again, it's classified as a straight arm lock, Udigatami, just by the fact it was an overhook there, and she didn't use the crotch as the fulcrum, you know, the pubic bone. So anyway, we like Analyze because Ronda is such a, I think she's the foremost Jujigatami arm lock, certainly in MMA, but in judo, I think in anything else, she's excellent. And she has it bred in her by her mother. She, you know, and a good friend of ours, Anne Maria DeMars, it's I could proudly say she's been a friend of my wife's and mine for 40 years, and you've stayed at her house, and we have a good relationship with the family. So, yeah, we are Ronda fans. We unabashedly are so, but we like to analyze her because she's so darn good. So there you have it. So that's our analysis of the fight, and as long as Ronda keeps fighting, we'll keep throwing them out there because they're just fun to do. So thanks a lot.